Tasha.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're having lunch.
This is pretty typical.
Yeah. We usually have lunch. Sometimes we make music, but lunch is usually a priority. Which is why we're going to have this conversation now.
Over lunch.
Oh my god. I dipped the fry in the spicy part.
Oh.
Okay. So,
there's water there if you need it.
So, we're having halalguys, which is our favorite, my favorite.
This is kind of the
I kind of
production go-to.
Yeah, this is the go-to.
This is the
because
go-to.
he lives close to the halalguys. So halalguys, if you want to sponsor us, we love eating your food.
This is it.
Every time we work.
This is the go-to.
Just a word of warning: the red sauce ain't messing around. So you gotta pace yourself. Okay, so yeah, we eat a lot when we work, and Aaron sometimes makes breakfast, right?
Well, this is true.
And I put down barbecue place, but I don't think we actually had barbecue. Oh, we did one time.
We
One
did.
time we had
No,
barbecue.
I think we did one. Yeah, I ordered that. We got to do that again.
Did we get sandwiches?
I think it was. It was like barbecue sandwiches.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. And then last time we went to a place called Domenico's, which I call Dominico's, which is wrong. So don't call it that. And that was pretty good too. That was mostly sandwiches.
That was.
I'm not usually a sandwich person, but you know, there's a lot of sandwich stuff in my life. Halalguys though, that's our go-to. So we're gonna talk about the album. So first of all, happy Bewilderment release. Cheers. Here's a
Cheers. Yeah.
water and Coke.
Should get the
Again, sponsors. Do you want to give us anyone?
There we go.
Yeah, so we just want to give a little bit of story time about the album while we eat, right?
Well, do you have any initial thoughts? You just released it last week, so
Yeah, I like it.
okay.
I did a great job.
Somebody's got their hand in the cookie jar again.
Yeah, so actually, that's like our running bit, right? When we give
Yeah.
ourselves compliments, or each other, mostly ourselves. We're supposed to get cookies, but we never do get cookies.
We never do.
But actually, last time we had ordered dessert because it was like our last meeting.
It didn't show up.
They didn't put the dessert in the bag. So that was a really hard day for me.
Very emotional.
It was very emotional. I really wanted to like close the experience with a dessert, but that's okay. This is our real closing. By opening and introducing the song. So the whole project started with, I don't know if you remember the story, but with the song "Still Be Waiting," which
yes.
in my head was just another Natasha song. But Aaron's like, oh, we were going to the Viper Room, remember, to play?
I do.
Yes. And I was like, oh, here's a song. And he's like, you should do it this way. And I was like, oh, yes. Okay, so.
I do remember this. That was I was just finished a lesson. Or finishing up a lesson.
You're finishing a lesson.
Oh.
And I literally went in and I was like, hey, so while you're like doing stuff that's important, let me just tell you this thing. And so, yeah, that's how this whole thing started was, so thank you, Viper Room, for having us be at that place, because it happened in that moment. But it was funny because I gave him reference tracks, and it was like, I don't even remember what the third one was, but I know I gave him a Katy Perry song and a Blackpink song.
Yep.
So, and I was like, can you just like make this into one thing? He was like, okay. But that's what it is. And then it gets better. Then I said, why don't we put in a sitar?
Yes. I remember that conversation. I was like,
because he was not feeling it.
Not initially, but effects do wonderful things. And once we got it in there and I heard it, I'm like, okay, all right, yep, I can hear where this is going. And
I keep eating the spicy sauce. I don't know why.
Bite somewhere else in there, you know. And once I heard it, it was like, okay, all right. And I remember the conversation, that initial conversation, coming up with the post-chorus, the "Still Be Waiting" part.
Cool.
And
I don't remember this conversation.
You don't remember that part?
Oh yeah, remind me.
I remember that. That was actually after that lesson as well, because you played it for me.
Yes.
And you played it for me. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So, well, what if you do? She's making a mess over here. What if you do this? You know, which is what ended up being kind of the post-chorus on "Still Be Waiting," and she really liked it, and so that also kind of set the tone for the sitar, for everything, for where that went, and I'll be honest, we both have a love of Phil Collins, and
oh my God, yes we do.
So
we love you, Phil Collins, if you're watching this.
And so I start. I think from a production standpoint anyway, I unintentionally started kind of channeling the inner Tarzan soundtrack.
We were very inspired by Tarzan. And, and Moana.
And Moana. Oh, yeah. Moana has been on repeat in this house for a while. Nicole really likes that. And so, that kind of birthed what Still Be Waiting ended up becoming.
And that set the tone for the album.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. It ended up being this very, polished pop kind of thing. And I thought, all right, well, we'll keep going down that rabbit hole.
So then the next song we did was SCOW. It's a very attractive acronym.
It's a great acronym.
I know, for some kind of way. And so, but Aaron starts with this very, serious face and voice, and he's like, I'm not sure if you're going to like it. I was like, okay. So now I'm, super nervous. But then he played it, and I loved it. It was perfect. And that's actually I don't know. It's probably my favorite.
That one was interesting because, I'm kind of a go big or go home kind of person. And a lot of that does tend to translate, when appropriate, over into production. And so I think that's what I was worried about. Is it's like, okay, here's this song that could honestly go a handful of different ways, and we turned it into this very anthem-like thing, especially towards the end, and it, think stadium anthem, 100,000 people kind of singing along, big drums, big vocals, big everything, and I wasn't sure if that was going to be what she was going to want, and she ended up liking it. You ended up digging it. So.
But Aaron does this other really fun thing called, Natasha, write more words right now.
Yes, there is that.
So fun. Yeah, so then I had to write that whole outro chorus, because it was originally just verse, chorus.
Right, exactly. You needed more. We needed...
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it was going to just be, just a normal double chorus, but you can with an alternate chorus.
Which now, in retrospect, we could have done a key change chorus.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah. Maybe that's something we'll save for...
Something for the tour.
Oh my god. See, I knew he was going to say that, because we're talking this. Okay.
Something for the tour.
But we do joke about how Aaron's a translator, a Tasha translator, because I'll be like, I want it to be like... And he's like, what? And I'm like, and then he does it, He pretends he doesn't know what I'm saying, but then he does.
Tasha translation.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. I'm really struggling with the red sauce here.
Have water there.
Because I was as I was pouring the sauce on, I was like, don't put too much. And I obviously didn't take my own advice. I will say we were going to do vinyl. It's not off the table. It is on the corner of the table. Right? Do I want water instead? Would that help with the heat?
It might.
Wow, great. I can't even.
The vinyl thing, we'll have to see what happens with that.
But you know what you could buy?
Buy merch.
You can buy merch. Do you see it in caps lock on my
Well, I did.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, super cute. I call it chibi, which means little, I think, right?
I believe so.
And it's little me.
The merch is really cool. You should go check it out.
Yeah, on Zazzle. And then everything's under Natasha Rennie. So, also the links for the album I'll put in the little box. The little box that happens underneath the YouTube video.
And please be sure, if you do dig it, please be sure to share. All right, the sharing helps tremendously. Good music is meant to be shared. And so if you find something that you dig, song, the whole album, whatever, please be sure to share it with your friends, family, and please be sure to post it. That's something that helps out immensely, more than you ever know.
That's what I've heard.
It does.
And I believe Aaron.
It really does help.
I really am excited to eat, but I'm just
so you're dying over there.
But it wasn't the intention. The intention was to be super cool in this video, but I guess it was wishful thinking.
Well, at least we're being ourselves.
This is true. Okay, so the other things that we wanted to talk, well, 2 more songs, obviously, but one of the goals was to make the songs more mainstream, but still keep the band. So let's thank the band now.
Well, we would love to extend a very, very big thank you to Jonah, Andy, Derek and Curtis. Those guys are wonderful, wonderful musicians. Thank you for doing all that you do. All right, and thank you for tolerating all of my mock-ups, all of my mock-ups and the notes that we send over, and all of what we do.
Like our band names, we send terrible bad names.
Oh, those were fun.
I wrote down one because I remembered it. It's called Gelwell, which is a terrible band name.
Oh, yeah.
And then
there were a couple other really bad ones too.
And I put HUSP, HUSP, which I don't know what that's supposed to be short for, if that was even the right.
I can't remember.
I don't. We come up with things all the time. So.
No. Thank you for tolerating that.
We love it. Okay, so Best of Me. Do you want to talk about Best of Me?
Well, actually, let me ask you a question.
Me or the camera?
Yeah. Asking you a question.
Perfect.
No, not the camera. What is your, now that you see what Best of Me became, I'm curious to see what your perception is and how you feel about where the song is at now and the way it comes across. Because now, if you've already heard it, it is very pop, mainstream pop kind of thing, and not at all really where it was before. So, what is your feeling on that and your perception of it now?
I like it.
That was very in depth, very informative. Really, really appreciate having you here today.
I know. What'd you guys do without me?
That's good.
I really do like it.
I mean, it's.
It was originally cut because it was a country song.
Right.
Country song.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, but that's the magic of production. I will say this, which has nothing to do with your question, but something I thought about. All the songs were like, it was just like the storytelling was super important to me, and like having it be something I really loved was important. So I obviously already liked the song, didn't think we could use it, but we did.
Well, and that's a good thing. You don't want to. I mean, I don't think you want to have something on a record that you can't at least stand by. You know, and especially with the fact that this is an EP. There's only 4 songs. I mean, they really needed to be.
We wanted them to be.
We wanted them to be as good as they can be, and so that was the goal, and it follows an interesting flow. I don't know if you're ready to talk about this yet, but
sure.
The musician aspect of
let's talk about
this. So you want to go down that rabbit hole?
Yeah. You start the hole.
Okay. All right. So I started out as just a guitarist, and I am still just a guitarist, pretty much.
It's hot and everything,
Yeah, exactly. And so I kind of have hired gun brain. The way I approach things, I do work as that, and I tend to come at things a lot of times, or I have in the past. I'm doing it less these days, but I tend to come at things very much from a player's perspective, and from coming up with a cool part, and coming up with a cool drum groove, piano part, whatever it is, and that was something that from the very beginning that I know Natasha wanted to be a part of this record. So it needed to be pop, it needed to be accessible, it needed to be commercial, but it needed to be played. Yeah. Very played, very much, having the musician element being very, very essential to it.
That was the most important thing.
Right. And we have this wonderful band that she's using that can play incredibly well. And so we didn't want to not have that. And so she gave me a lot of free license to sit in the studio and tinker and write parts for these guys to play. And I have to be honest, it's a lot of fun to come up with a part that's very much a part for a pop tune. Because it's not something that you always find. You find it with some artists, you don't find it with other artists. It really depends on the producer, it depends on who's involved, it depends on the record company, it depends on a whole lot of different things. Well, we have the 2 of us in a band. And so nobody else is pushing us to do one thing or another. And so it was fun to come up with parts that could be played, that musicians can really sit there and play. Yes, they're pop tunes. Yes, they're accessible. But it's stuff that's very, very played. And we actually have the next tune.
Oh, yeah.
That actually illustrates that really well.
So let's start with When a Heart Breaks Slowly originally was a ballad.
Yes. Right.
And I said, Aaron, I want to be in 6/8. So he takes out his guitar and he like plays 6/8. And I was like, no. I want to be in 6/8. And he's like, that's what I'm playing though. I'm like, no, this is not the 6/8. It was a whole thing. He loved it. He had a great time.
It was fun.
He was a little mad at me. He's like, I'm playing 6/8, Natasha. And I was like, you have to count it differently. It was a whole thing. But
Triplet feel.
Yes, that's basically what it said, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just kept using the word 6/8 instead of triplet.
Well, it can be. It just depends on how you interpret it. 6/8 can be handled in a number of different ways, but
which we learned together that day. Together we learned this, right?
That being said, that tune, that tune is very, probably of all three, the most musician-y, if you will.
All three.
Of all four, sorry. Excuse me.
Oh, so he doesn't like one of the songs.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
Demoted
all four. I didn't demote one of the songs. My gosh. Focusing on the food here. All four. Of all four, When a Heart Breaks Slowly is probably the most musician-y. And we went back and forth about that one quite a bit, actually. You know, we tried a handful of different things. Once we got.
Oh my god! I think we did. I think we had like 3 versions.
Yeah, there were a few different things that we did with that one, and ultimately, you know, when I first did the mock-up, before I send it out to the guys, it had a normal drum kit on it, and that had a very similar feel to what you hear on the record. And we kind of went back and forth about that. It's like, okay, well, does this need to sound more commercialized? Because you don't hear that kind of playing on the radio right now, per se. If you hear a groove like that, it is a very electronic version of it. And so you just don't hear that real often on the radio. The only time when you might hear that, something like that, extremely played would be like in country music most of the time. Not always, but most of the time you'll hear something like that in country music. When we got the tracks back, we were still going back and forth about it. I remember we were going back and forth on what it was going to sound like, no, we were. There was a lot of back and forth on it. It's like, well, does it need to be more? We need to make this more commercial. Do we need to? It's still very played. Do we have? What do we do? And I made a couple of adjustments on the production side of things, and I think we both ended up settling on like, okay, we really like where this is at, and we're gonna leave this a little bit more musician-y.
Which I think is great.
I think it worked out really well.
It was supposed to be the last song, so I think switching the order. So the original order, When a Heart Breaks was gonna be the last one, and then I changed it. And we did add SITAR in Still Be Waiting, and we added a koto in When a Heart Breaks Slowly,
which I really liked.
Thank you.
That was really cool.
I think we both thought of that idea because I really wanted to add some more like me elements, my Asian elements to it.
Exactly.
So very subtle, but I think they're very sophisticated. And I think that's everything. Oh, thank you for watching. That's what I wrote. That's the last note. Is there anything else you want to add? Oh, you should go listen to it, please. Yeah. Did I mention that part? Please listen to it.
That subtle little tidbit there.
So I'm the most subtle person I know.
Exactly.
Honestly.
No, we really hope that you like the record. Thanks for watching and hanging in there with us.
And thanks for eating lunch with us.
Yes, thank you for having lunch.
I hope you were eating also. I hope that that was the cue when you saw that we laid out a full table of food we're not going to finish.
It's kind of the deal here, you know.
But it works out. We have leftovers, you know.
We do. You could have some leftovers if you like.
Yeah. No,
that might be a little weird.
That's super weird.
Yeah.
Let's not share leftovers.
So we'll have our food. You have your food
Yes.
while you're watching.
And now would be a great time to go click on the links below and listen to the songs. You know what I'm saying?
And if you do dig them, be sure to share.
Aaron says it really helps. I believe Aaron. Just right now, though, not for like other days. Thanks for watching us eat. Yeah, we'll see
Thank you.
for the next album, if not sooner.
You got it.
That's my monkey face.
See ya.
Bye.